From desert ghost towns and mines to hidden metropolitan locations, these are 8 forgotten abandoned places in America. Number 8. Glen Rio. Don't stop, keep going. Even Google decided not to drive through this area again. I mean, look at the quality of the pictures. It's so 2007. Glen Rio was originally known as Rock Island. It was founded over 1 million hours ago. If you can't do the math in your head, the year was 1903. What made this ghost town popular was its prime location, half of it being in Texas and the other half in New Mexico. Many people find beauty in the abandoned gas station and surrounding buildings. Others try to scurry away as fast as possible because it probably reminds them of a set from one of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. Number 7. Clairton, or what used to be. Clairton is the home of the largest Coke manufacturing facility in the USA. And no, we're not talking about the refreshing soft beverage known as Coca-Cola, rather the fuel created from black coal. It is used in the manufacturing of steel. And Clairton is one of those towns that you hear about on the news, you know, coal country, or in this case, it's better to say steel country. Traveling around the town on Google Maps, you can see many abandoned homes, overgrown sidewalks, and just avenues of broken dreams. Perhaps the most striking neighborhood is located on Lincoln Way. Every house on this street was abandoned. No one really wants to talk about it or even give exact reasons as to why this neighborhood was affected so much more than the rest. In 2015, Lincoln Way was ravaged by a fire. Some of the 30 or so homes were completely destroyed. Local authorities heavily opposed any stories about supposed hauntings or ghosts. I don't know where people are getting these stories. People are listening to them and then they're running with it. This town has a lot of good history, but as far as Lincoln Way is concerned, I don't know why it stands out. Maybe because a street full of people decided to leave? I mean, granted, it wasn't an overnight operation, but still, makes you wonder. Number 6. The Sidling Hill Tunnel. See you on the other side. In the 1940s, the Pennsylvania Turnpike was nicknamed the Tunnel Highway, having not 6, not 8, but 7 tunnels in its path. By the 70s, the road was so busy that expansions had to be made. Some smart people did some math and found out that the best thing to do was to bypass 3 tunnels and merge the other 4. At this point, Sidling Hill Tunnel became a post-apocalyptic dream location. No traffic, no people, just you and the dilapidated road. The site was used to train soldiers for the Iraq War. Policemen used parts of it as a shooting range, and a small company called Bike to Bike tried to make it a tourist destination. Oh yeah, almost forgot, the critically acclaimed movie The Road also shot a bunch of scenes here, so maybe that's why it looks so familiar. Number 5. 2 Guns. There's gold in them there hills. Should we start off with the Death Cave or the hidden treasure? Let's go with the Death Cave. In 1878, 42 Apaches hiding inside a cave were smoked out by Navajo enemies. The cave was nicknamed the Death Cave, and I guess it didn't bother people too much since they still decided to settle in that area. Before 2 Guns was a legitimate settlement, 4 bad cowboys took advantage of the wild, wild west and robbed a train on the nearby Santa Fe Railway. They made out with $100,000 in cash and $40,000 in gold coins. Here's the kicker, they were eventually caught, with only $100 between them. One of the thieves confessed that the remainder of the loot is still hidden around 2 Guns. And that's about it. 2 Guns became somewhat of a tourist trap with its expensive gas and trading post. With the completion of a nearby highway, 2 Guns was abandoned and forgotten sometime in the 80s. Number 4. Animas Forks. This picturesque deserted mine is hidden along the Alpine Loop in Colorado. The first settlers came around 1873, and it took only a few years for the Animas Forks to become a full-fledged community. Just like most bustling mine towns of the time, as soon as the profits dried up, so did the town. These days, Animas Forks is owned and operated by the Bureau of Land Management. And a quick question for you all, how much land does the BLM own? about 247.3 million acres, or about 1/8 of the country. Anytime you're driving through the middle of nowhere USA and wonder who owns the land, chances are it's the BLM. Number 3. Pleasure Beach. Sorry, the beach is closed. At first I assumed we were going to explore a restricted island, but it seems Pleasure Beach is actually a barrier beach. Google Earth provides some great insight into what is left from the original community, which is not much. Looks like we only have the community center that's still standing. So what the heck happened here? A portion of the bridge connecting Pleasure Beach to the mainland caught fire in 1996. This pretty much crippled the community. Most of the houses became summer homes that were rarely visited. In 2007, the town of Stratford stopped leasing the homes since it was too expensive to make sure they weren't vandalized or robbed. For the next 7 or so years, Pleasure Beach suffered greatly, from random fires to straight-up illegal demolitions. As of 2017, none of the original homes exist anymore, but at least it's open to the public again. Number 2. Grain silos. What is the most forgettable state? Seriously, what do you think the most forgettable state is? Let everyone know in the comments. Indiana is home to hundreds of abandoned grain silos that have somehow managed to survive longer than their surrounding communities. A great example is Corwin, Indiana. Apparently it's not even a ghost town, only being described as an extinct town. We also have the town of Sloan, Dunn, and unfortunately, many more. Here are some honorable mentions that I thought were interesting. Like the Westinghouse Atom Smasher. The light bulb shaped tower was instrumental in the research done on nuclear energy for civilian use. Well, the city of Forest Hills, Pennsylvania could not preserve the smasher. The Hell House Altar. Located in Maryland, the altar was part of St. Mary's College, and you can only imagine the amount of hauntings, ghost sightings, and devil worship legends surrounding this place. Finally, a place where you can enjoy the zombie apocalypse in peace. The Año Nuevo Island off the coast of Northern California. It used to be a peninsula, but because of the erosive pounding of waves, it is now an island. And it will continue to shrink and shrink until there's eventually nothing left and that house is completely destroyed. Number 1. The 1964 New York World's Fair Pavilion. Back in the day, people from around the globe gathered and celebrated progress, technology, and all the cool things nations and people were inventing. In 1964, people wanted to have a repeat of the 1939 fair. And I think they were pretty successful. Probably the most important part of the expo is still in good condition, the enigmatic Unisphere found in the center of it all. But there is also some sour sights, like the New York State Pavilion. There was never any good consistent use for it after the fair ended, except for it being a filming location. Occasionally. You might remember it from the original Men in Black movie. The pavilion is strictly off limits, and reports say that a bunch of cats have taken over the area. There's also a big debate on whether or not the observation towers and pavilions should be demolished. What do you think? Don't forget to tell me what you thought about this video in the comments below, subscribe for more awesome World on Earth, and check out the video coming up next. See you there.